Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs, recognizing first responders and other deserving individuals in our community. Friday mornings at 8:30 on News Talk KVNU.
KVNU News Time is 5:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. On KVNU's For the People program on Wednesday, Cache County Executive David Zook had breaking news announcing that the county is making grant funding available to nonprofit organizations in Cache County.
We're opening up grant availability for nonprofits in our community. We've got about $500,000 of these. They're ARPA funds, so that's the American Rescue Plan Act. So these are pandemic dollars that were given to us.
It comes out to $515,000. Online applications opened on Wednesday, and the deadline is August 18th, so organizations need to apply very soon. Zook said he would like to see as many nonprofits as possible benefit from these grants. He said that nonprofit organizations are critical to the community because of the valuable services they provide. Organizations wishing to apply are encouraged to visit the Cache County website at cachecounty.org and click on the Go button under the heading Nonprofit ARPA Funding Opportunity. Also, work has started in putting in fiber optic lines in Logan Canyon that will lead to the construction of cell phone towers, something that Zook has been spearheading for a couple of years.
Every time I talk about this, I make sure that I thank Senator Wilson especially for his tremendous work on this. UDOT, I've actually worked with our entire federal delegation on this, Senator Romney, Senator Lee, Congressman Moore. They all helped with interactions with the forest and the Forest Service there. The Forest Service has been fantastic. I really appreciate their support on this.
He noted the help, too, of the governor's office and the Utah legislature in general. Zook said it's been a real team effort. He did caution drivers to watch out for construction workers in Logan Canyon, saying it is a dangerous route at times, and that is why cell phone service is so badly needed, as communication in the canyon is vital in case of traffic accidents, ski accidents, and other emergency situations. He said they will do as much work as possible this summer, but it will probably be next year before the project is done. But he said UDOT is also putting in more traffic cameras in the canyon and message signs as well. KVNU News Time is 5:06. KVNU weather for tonight. Mostly cloudy skies this evening, becoming partly cloudy later on tonight. There is a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening. Slight chance of showers and storms after midnight. Overnight low in the mid-50s. Slight chance of showers and storms, partly cloudy on Friday. High tomorrow in the lower 80s. Sunny and mid-80s on Saturday. Right now it's 72 at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Logan Extermination. Take care of those nasty elm seed beetles by calling Logan Extermination at 435-752-8450.
If you've ever passed by 485 North Main, you've likely noticed how well kept the property is. The grass is always green and the flower beds are always well kept and in bloom. What you see on the outside is exactly what you'll find inside. Care and attention to detail. Exactly what you want when you're dealing with one of your most important senses, your hearing. Dr. Daines' love and care for the community has always gone beyond the front steps at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. So if you're not hearing as well as you used to, stop in at 485 North Main in Logan or visit them online at cachehearing.com.
KVNU News Time is 5:07. At their regular meeting on Tuesday, the members of the Logan Municipal Council unanimously approved a resolution increasing electrical rates for all city residents. Those increased rates will take effect with the next power bills sent out by Logan City Light and Power. According to Mark Montgomery, the director of Logan City Light and Power, over the last year and a half to 2 years, the city should have been implementing electrical surcharges to cope with the shortfall between what was budgeted for power and the actual price the city paid. During 2021 to 22, they funded that shortfall with their financial reserves, But beginning with fiscal year 2022 to 2023, they finally have to impose those surcharges. The council's approval of the resolution will now make rate increases permanent for residential, commercial, and industrial customers by adjusting electrical rates according to the actual cost of service and other factors. The vote came after a public hearing in which only Logan resident Dr. Gail Yost spoke, questioning whether financial assistance was available for city customers on fixed or low incomes. Under the new Logan City Light and Power rate schedule, the service charge for residential customers will increase from $5 to $6.50 per month. The rates for electrical power will increase from 9 cents per kilowatt hour to 11 cents for the first 400 kilowatts delivered. For the next 600 kilowatts, the rate will increase from 10.5 to 12.5 cents. For all additional power delivered over 1,000 kilowatts, the rate will increase from 11.7 cents to 13.7 cents. Montgomery said that the city also plans to implement a series of 2% annual electrical rate increases over the next few years. Under the newly approved rate schedule, Logan residents will see their monthly bills increase to $54.31 for 400 kilowatts, $135.03 for 1,000 kilowatts, and $281.66 for 2,000 kilowatts. Montgomery said that the new power rates are in line with other communities throughout Utah. At I-15 through Ogden on Thursday morning was treacherous after a semi hit the median barrier in the early hours, breaking off chunks of concrete. The concrete pieces left multiple vehicles with flat tires and body damage. Vehicles were seen hobbled on I-15's shoulder in the area of 29th Street as the Utah Highway Patrol implemented intermittent lane closures to remove the debris from the freeway. The incident was affecting traffic in both directions, though northbound drivers were feeling the brunt of it. In between closures, traffic was moving below 30 miles per hour, according to UDOT. UDOT estimated the roadway would be cleared by 6 a.m., though residual delays are likely. KVNU News Time is 5:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Attention Aggies, this week you'll find rock bottom prices at the USU Campus Store Markdown Mania Sale. Listen to these crazy deals. Utah State Nike and Championship apparel is buy one, get one free, and all clearance items are an additional 50% off. You won't find better prices on your favorite Aggie gear anywhere else. Get a free Aggie sticker and free parking validation with $10 purchases. USU Campus Store is open weekdays 8 to 5 and Saturday from 10 to 2. Hurry in, this sale only goes through Saturday. Don't miss the USU Campus Store Markdown Mania Sale.
Ready to experience a new level of local transit? Well, with the new CVTD app, it's super simple for you to plan your trip to a T. With our interactive map, you can view bus stops closest to your location with real-time arrival information. You can mark your favorite stops, get alerts, set reminders, and much more. So whether you're a seasoned pro or it's your first ride, get moving today with the new CVTD app.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. It was a pretty wet day today, to say the least. Stories of folks with wet shoes, roadways that were riverways.
Corinne in Box Elder County apparently got hammered.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. This is, so I first saw this, and I sent this to you, Bill. It was so Pacificorp has weather stations around, and a friend of mine actually works with a group that works with them. Anyway, he had sent me a link to this. He said, I know you're in Cache Valley, but man, what is going on in northern Utah today? And I looked, and so basically between the hours of roughly 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Is that a good time? Good
well,
time
even
frame
after,
for this?
yeah.
Well, when I saw the report was
even after 11.
I saw the report at about 11:30, and so basically, what the report says is that in a 3-hour stretch, roughly between 9 a.m. and as Bill mentioned, more came after this, but this was at 11:30 this morning in a 3-hour stretch from 9 a.m. to 11. The Honeyville Corinne area got 3.06 inches of rain. That's an inch an hour, roughly. Now, it wasn't spread out like that equally. It came in bursts and tapered off and then bursts again. But yeah, in a 3-hour period, 3 inches of rain. And that's not even the total for the day.
That would really chill down Crystal Hot Springs.
Whew. That was, I'll bet their pools were a bit overflowing over there, as close as they keep them to the lip already. It was honestly just fascinating to watch play out. And, we need it. It's going to, green things up a little bit. That's definitely not something to be upset about. But just a quick note on this. A lot of people wondering if this changes the wildfire risk outlook. Not much. I mean, it does immediately. Immediately, it changes a lot, to be honest with you. But it does not overall change. 3.11. Going back, I'll finish my thought there. Things are going to dry out very quickly, and the wildfire risk will come right back. So don't let your guard down on that. But yeah, so according to the National Weather Service, in their precipitation totals for the day so far. So again, 3.06 of this came in 3 hours between 9 and 11 a.m. over there in Box Elder County. Specifically, though, hitting the Honeyville and Corinne areas the hardest. And then, strangely enough, just miles away in Brigham City and Manawa, only an inch and a half. So this was extremely localized precipitation.
Well, and I was looking at the radar, and Ogden and Salt Lake, it looks like they didn't get any of this, or very little.
No, they. In fact, Ogden.
They got storms yesterday, I guess. Some pretty big thunderstorms.
Yeah, Ogden and Salt Lake got, and Morgan County yesterday, man, just slammed for about an hour. Well, we got sprinkles, if any. But yeah, just a few miles away from Honeyville. And the Corinne area, Brigham City and Manaway, both reporting about an inch and a half. But in Honeyville and Corinne areas today, even going north a bit into, this was so localized that if you're familiar with the area, think of the distance between Honeyville and Corinne and north of them, Elwood. Not a lot. I mean, it's a handful of miles, I think. And nearly double the rain in the Honeyville area than in. So Elwood was about 1.2 inches, and Honeyville, a handful of miles away, 3.11 their total for the day. Just really, really amazing to see out. Cache Valley had a lot of variance too. Looking at the precipitation map here, the south end of the valley, the Nibley, Wellsville, and Hiram area, almost 2 inches, 1.96 so far today. Well, I should clarify, this is the last 12 hours. That's how they break it down. So the last 12 hours, almost 2 inches at the south end of the valley, 1.96 in Nibley, Wellsville, and Hiram. North end of the valley, North Logan, not even an inch. Hyde Park, Richmond, Lewiston, less than that. North Logan was at 0.8 of an inch. Richmond and Lewiston roughly 0.6.
And we had 1.16 since 7 this morning.
That is amazing. In Logan?
Or here at
the station?
Yeah, here at the station. 0.08 before that.
That's interesting. And then the weather station at the summit of the canyon, 0.2 inches. just barely some rain over there. So just really, really weird storms dumping, in very isolated pockets, just dumping a lot of rain. And yeah, you mentioned this, Bill, Salt Lake, Morgan County, and even the Ogden area just getting hammered yesterday. Today, Salt Lake's total for the day so far is 0.03. Or sorry, 0.03.
They had their fun yesterday.
So they got not even a sprinkle today, barely. And then, Farmington, Layton, Ogden, all in the 0.1, 0.2 area there. So Plain City, though, out of that area did get a little hammered. And just south of Brigham City, the Willard Perry area got about an inch and a half, while Brigham City just got 1.2. So, yeah, just a really, really weird set of storms that came through, and in extremely, you don't see this often. A lot of times with thunderstorms, they're broad enough, that whatever they've got to dump, they dump over a region. But this was just little isolated pockets of some very heavy, fat thunderclouds, and just hammering the Honeyville, Corinne area today with over 3 inches of rain. While here in Cache Valley in Logan, we got at the south end of the valley just under 2. And then, like the Manaway Brigham City area, again, just barely over 1. So, yeah, congrats. I did ask, I texted around to see if we could get some photos sent in from the Honeyville, Corinne area. Unfortunately, the handful of people I knew who might have access to or be close enough to take a picture were not in the area at the time, state crew workers and things like that. And so sadly, I don't have any to share. But if you do, I heard reports, rumors at least, of roadways that turned into rivers right in downtown Corinne for a few minutes. I heard reports of some streams actually overflowing with all this coming on so fast, and only overflowing for a bit. Flooded parking lots, gutters that had been stopped up, turning into gigantic lakes at intersections. So just a pretty exciting morning in the Corinne-Honeyville area today, with over 3 inches of rain in less than 3 hours. So it's welcome stuff, and again, it will green things up. It definitely cooled things down. That's been a nice break. But as you can see, looking out your window now, the sun's back out, and the heat is coming back. And again, don't let this get your guard down when it comes to being vigilant about not sparking a wildfire with a cigarette butt, a dragging chain, sawing, grinding too close to things. Do not head out target shooting, please. Another report of that just from yesterday. Unfortunately, some bonehead out target shooting in the canyon. Actually cited. That's more than a $2,000 fine, by the way. I don't know that anybody actually ends up paying that. I've never followed up, but I know that's the listed fine according to statute. But that happened just yesterday in Blacksmith Fork Canyon. Someone was cited out target shooting into a dry hill because there was a sprinkle of rain. Just don't. Things are going to dry back out fast, and wildfire season is going to be lengthy and arduous this year. So, but some welcome cooler temperatures and rain today. What was our high today, Bill?
I think we're at about it. We were in the low 60s all morning with the steady rain.
You could feel it.
It's been to 73, and right now we have 72.
So pretty close to the high. Not bad. Nice break from the 90s, but they're coming back. And we'll be back right after this.
This is the Sean Hannity Show.
One high school teacher in California threatened to punish students who protested a pride video in a math class. Why are we showing pride videos in math class? I mean, are we using some type of algebraic equation to determine, how many, people are pride in the picture? I mean, is that what it is? How about we teach our kids the basics, the fundamentals?
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 on News Talk KVNU.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey. and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends, look closer. Right in your community, there are youth who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So, look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. Every youth who walks into Covenant House gets clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So, look closer at Covenant House and help us fight youth homelessness. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, we meet the challenge. In cybersecurity, protecting and defending in cyberspace. When natural disasters happen, we are there in space. As a strong part of the nation's defense, we are there in the community, and we are there for our nation. We share a vision to make a difference, united and focused, taking pride in being there in service of our country. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Talking about some of the rain totals from the Honeyville-Corinne area compared to here in Cache Valley. More than 3 inches over there today in 3 hours. While just a few miles away from Honeyville and Corinne, Brigham City, for example, getting just barely over 1.5 inches, less than half of what they got 11 miles north. Some really, really weird weather patterns and very localized, very wet storms. South end of Cache Valley, again, almost 2 inches, while Logan was just over 1. So just strange stuff. The Richmond area, not even making 1. Weird storms. So our good friend Bill on the line. Bill apparently was caught out driving in the middle of all this and wanted to share the story with everyone. Bill, that had to be an exciting morning.
Oh, it's the most fun I've had in a while. I was coming up from the south, and it was good weather, but you could see this black wall developing. By the time when we got to Willard Bay, the rain was coming down at a rate that the windshield wipers could hardly keep up with it. Semis were pulling over, high-profile vehicles pulling over. Yet you got the sense that you were like driving on the edge of it. I saw some really interesting single bolt lightning hit Willard Bay.
Really?
And then we got to Brigham City, and it turned to come up into Logan. And it's like it moderated a bit. We went up to... Then when we get to the Dry Lake area, it is, like normal rain. When I got let out at my house in... right here by the tabernacle, it was just a little sprinkle. Annoying.
Just enough to dirty the windshields and the windows, right?
Maybe a little bit more than that, but, it was an interesting phenomenon. And I was also down in Salt Lake yesterday when parts of Salt Lake were getting pounded. The west side of Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Had some rain, just like it would rain, it would flood the street, and then another little storm went, it'd kind of get to normal, and then another storm would come in, and the street would be flooded again, meaning that it was curb to curb with water. So much water was coming down, the storm drain system could not handle it for a while. And it wasn't in an old part of town or anything. It's been relatively new. It was an interesting couple of days for weather, but it, at least it wasn't a hurricane or anything.
Yeah, that's one good thing, right, Bill? The weather we get, this is usually the worst it gets, is some intense rain. I do have one complaint, though, and I teased the governor about this in person recently, and I won't back down on it. But the governor, a little while ago, was very critical of San Francisco and California for some policy decisions they'd made regarding housing. And I told him, you know what, though? I was in San Francisco a while ago in a rainstorm, and you could see the painted lines on the road, something we're all unfamiliar with here in Utah. So, Bill, I hope that wasn't a part of your drive as well, because I don't know what UDOT's using out there, but, man, you get a little moisture on the roads at all, and you can't see a painted line to save your life and others. We need to address that. Have we not heard of these little reflector things the other states are using? Apparently not. So, Bill, always great to hear from you. I'm glad you made it home safe, and thanks for the personal story about today's weird weather. Again, more than 3 inches in Honeyville, Corinne area, and just a few miles south in Brigham City, not even 1.5 inches. Here in Cache Valley, almost 2 inches at the south end of the valley. Logan, just over 1 inch in the northern end of the valley, just barely over 0.5 inch. Really localized and wet storms. And, man, enjoy these cool temperatures. They're not going to last. We'll be back, though. This show will last at least until after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:30, and the news is brought to you by U&I Furniture. Yeah, looking at the radar picture for this hour, looks like another big blob of storms out in the West Desert, generally moving our direction, but it may take a while to get here, and we'll see if the storms hold together. But we'll check the forecast here in just a moment. Details of Logan City's one-year pilot program with Bird Global emerged during a report on the initiative to members of the Logan Municipal Council on Tuesday. Under that agreement, Bird has been providing dockless short-term e-scooter rentals to city residents since July 1st. In the first 22 days of services in Logan, the Bird scooters have been rented 1,555 times, according to city planner Russ Hawley. To operate one of the city's fleet of 200 Bird scooters, residents are charged $1 to unlock the device and 39 cents for every minute they ride. Under a revenue-sharing agreement with Bird, the city receives 25 cents each time an e-scooter is used. That revenue will be earmarked for future micro-mobility improvements within the city, according to Hawley. Use of the scooters on city sidewalks is authorized only when no other option is available, according to Hawley. When parking an e-scooter, riders are also advised to avoid hydrants, sidewalks, doorways, driveways, and other passageways. The city reserves the right to designate mandatory dismount zones in which the use of scooters is prohibited. The use of Bird scooters in those areas is controlled by a technology called geofencing. At the present time, the largest no-go zone in Logan is the USU campus. Hawley explained that university officials are now negotiating details with Bird of their own pilot program for on-campus micro-mobility operations. Logan City officials cleared the way for the advent of micro-mobility options with local ordinance changes in the spring of 2022. Those included scooters, electric bikes, electric scooters, skateboards, shared bikes, skateboards, rollerblades, and other personal transportation devices. Also adopted were changes to the municipal code would allow micro-mobility devices like the bird scooters. Emergency crews were called to investigate a multi-vehicle crash Wednesday afternoon. This was a non-injury collision that occurred just after 4:30 on I-84 at mile marker 197. State police said a 51-year-old man from Mendon was driving westbound on the interstate in a Chevy Silverado, towing a 25-foot boat on a trailer. A 20-year-old woman from Hillsboro, Oregon, was driving eastbound on the interstate in a Subaru Forester. A 33-year-old man from Rupert, Idaho, is also driving eastbound in a GMC Acadia. Investigators said for unknown reasons, the boat trailer detached from the vehicle and traveled into the median. As the Subaru slowed, it was struck from behind by the Acadia and pushed into the westbound lanes of travel, where the vehicle overturned and came to rest. It's believed all occupants were wearing their seatbelts. This incident remains under investigation by the Idaho State Police. KBNU News Time is 5:34.
Are you a hot sleeper? Warm summer nights can make it hard to sleep. UNI Furniture recommends sleeping cooler with a gel memory foam mattress. UNI features a copper-infused gel memory foam that helps with coolness and circulation. It moves better with you, giving you the best night's sleep. UNI is also the home of Chair Heaven. There's a reason they sell so many chairs, including recliners. For over 90 years, there's always been a better buy at UNI Furniture, downtown Logan.
The case, the United States of America versus Donald J. Trump. The charges, 4 counts named in a federal indictment accusing the nation's 45th president of attempting to overturn the 2020 election. ABC's Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas watched as Mr. Trump pleaded not guilty.
After he was sworn in, the judge requesting Trump say his full name and his age, 77. The judge then reading the charges: conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, specifically the January 6th certification of the presidential results, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights, to deprive people of their right to vote and to have their votes counted.
After the arraignment, the former president called himself a victim of political persecution.
This is a very sad day for America.
He then boarded his private jet and he headed to his golf club in New Jersey. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
KBNU weather. May have heard the announcement from the National Weather Service just moments ago. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for south central Box Elder County in northern Utah. Part of that system we talked about of those storms generally moving our direction from west to east. And this storm warning for area 21 miles north of the Utah Test and Training Range, or 50 miles southwest of Snellville, that's moving east at 20 miles per hour. We do have about a 40% chance of some more storms this evening. Slight chance of showers and storms after midnight, low in the mid-50s. And then partly cloudy, 20% chance of showers and storms tomorrow, high in the low 80s. Sunny and mid-80s on Saturday. It's been to 73. It's 73 degrees right now at KBNU. And again, 1.16 since this morning. So almost 1.2 inches of rain since this morning's measurement of 0.08. And again, 73 right now. Your trees and shrubs are growing like crazy, and no doubt they will grow even faster with all this moisture. If they're blocking your view or posing a potential hazard, call Whole Tree Care. They trim, shape, and remove trees. Call 435-760-6587. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
The Cache Valley Media Group is looking for someone who can shoot and edit video content for clients, events, and commercials for high school sports. Having a good understanding of DaVinci Resolve and OBS is a plus, but training will be provided. You'd also need to understand the demands of live streaming on YouTube and work with live broadcast teams. The job offers up to 30 hours a week, and we're offering $18 an hour. Share your resume with us at cashvalleymediagroup.com/employment. That's cashvalleymediagroup.com/employment.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
This Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. She doesn't know that yet. All she knows is that she went to justserve.org and volunteered an hour of her time. Browsing through dozens of service opportunities in her community, April decided to spend her Tuesday evening serving dinner to mothers and their children at a transitional house. She doesn't know she'll be serving a particular mother and daughter who will be spending their first night in this home. April doesn't know that the hot meal she'll serve is the first this mother and daughter will have had in a week, or that the simple smile she'll offer as she serves them will help them realize that things are going to be all right. Which is why this Tuesday, April Davis will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org. JustServe.org is provided as a service by The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
The Aggies are returning home. Beginning this season, USU football and basketball will be back on KVNU.
Touchdown, Utah State!
Listen to every game, static-free at 102 FM, 610 AM, and online at kvnutalk.com or the KVNU mobile app.
It's recovered by Utah State, and the Aggies get the touchdown.
The season begins September 2nd when Utah State travels to Iowa to face the Hawkeyes. Join us in welcoming the Aggies back to KVNU, the home again for the Aggies.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. I need listeners' advice. Now, specifically, this question is for our listeners over the hill in the Box Elder County area. But broadly, it's a question for everybody because we'll also be hosting and moderating events with Logan City municipal candidates. I've thrown out on our Facebook page an invitation for listeners to suggest other cities they'd like to see us do something in. Now, we'll be trying to do candidate spotlights for everyone in every city, but we rely on listeners to prioritize for us based on where public interest is the highest. We go there first. So we had some folks from the Tremonton area reach out recently and say, hey, would you guys be interested in helping us put together a Meet the Candidate event? And, of course, we said yes. In the 16 years I've been here on the show, we haven't done this before. We've done some events in the Box Elder County area. We've obviously talked about a lot of things. We've spoken many times with planners, city planners, and others in the Box Elder County area regarding their growth and their master plans and things like that. So we haven't ignored the area, but I think this is the first time we've actually helped to organize and moderate a Meet the Candidate event. But talking with the organizers about why they wanted to do this and why there's so much interest in the municipal races in Tremonton this year, it's a question not only for that specific city and Box Elder County at large, every city in the county, but I realize as I'm listening to the organizers, as I'm hearing some of the issues that are coming up most frequently in the debate around these candidates in the upcoming primary and more, I realize this is not at all a Tremonton or Box Elder specific thing. This is statewide. And all of it could be, in one way or another, lumped into an oversimplified description of growth. But it's not an inaccurate description. It's oversimplified because it leaves out a lot, but it's not inaccurate because a lot of the issues facing cities here in Cache Valley and Cache County, Box Elder County, Weber, the Davis County area, even parts of Salt Lake, though they went through this about 10 years ago. We're just going through it now here in Cache County. It does all tie back into growth because these are problems that arise because there's more people. The responsibilities, even the bare minimum responsibilities of the city, have grown in scope and cost. Look at schools, for example. The more people you have coming, if you figure on average for every family that comes in, you've got 2 more kids in the schools, and that's not even the majority of our growth. By far, 80 to 85% of our growth, Kempsey Gardner estimates statewide, is birth rate. I'm sorry, 85 to 90%. I read that wrong. 85 to 90%, Kempsey Gardner estimates, is our birth rate. These aren't migrants. These aren't people coming from other states in general. I mean, there's a lot of that, but that's not where the majority of the growth and the challenges that it presents for small cities and townships throughout the state is birth rate, the kids we're having. And I don't see that pattern changing anytime soon here in Utah. For cultural reasons, but also because we have nowhere near the spot where we're running out of space. We've nowhere near the time when the roads are just insufferably crowded, like Southern California, where you're seeing birth rates trend down because of this. In Southern California, it is so expensive to buy a home, and because demand has been so high for so long, the prices have just gotten, and it's so difficult to commute, and they're actually seeing birth rate declines. And this pattern shifts and changes throughout history. It doesn't really say anything. People like to say, the politics of the area are wrong. That's why everyone's leaving and they're not having kids. No, that's usually not the case. It's just cyclical. Populations balloon and balloon and balloon, and then life there gets unpleasant when you hit a certain threshold, and people start leaving or stay and stop having as many kids. This has been a pattern that is repeated throughout history, back to Egypt. But that is where we're at in Utah. Is we're on the upward side of that. We're on the growth side of that, and we will be for many decades to come, at least 2. But before we get anywhere near a threshold where you start to see this turn around because life gets so annoying because there are so many people everywhere and you can't do anything. You can't camp. You can't drive. You can't go into the mountains on a hiking trail because it's just like going to the Zion National Park in June. And it's just a line of people up to the cool thing to see. Those types of things do reduce quality of life, and they do change birth rates and migration rates and people who stay to set up roots where their family already has roots. But we're not there yet. So growth is going to be the thing for decades to come. And places like Tremonton have enjoyed being outside of this a bit, watching us grow here in Cache Valley, watching Salt Lake County and Davis County and Weber County grow and deal with these things. But it hasn't been something they've had to focus on until recently. But my understanding is the way it's coming up in Tremonton, and specifically in the Tremonton municipal races, is, of course, growth means a lot of change, not just talking about the change you see every day, like the apartment buildings and the houses and the subdivisions that used to be fields or places you rode your bike when you were a kid. I'm talking about internal change as well, policy change, tax change, because there are some places in Utah that have been able to keep property taxes, overall sales tax burdens, things like that, very, very low. And a lot of these places are agricultural communities that are transitioning away from that slowly, or sometimes in some cases not slowly, rapidly, unfortunately. And so as that transition happens, there's a need to readdress things, to look at things and say, okay, even the bare minimum, just keep the lights on necessities of the city. When we project 5-10 years down the road, it's not going to work. So what do? Well, that's where the problem comes up, because sometimes, because it's a new thing they're facing, you see knee-jerk reactions. You see decisions that maybe aren't accounting for 5-10 years down the road. You see decisions that are difficult to justify and explain to the public, even if, the elected leaders have seen something that, convinces them this move is necessary. They then have to go turn to the public in, say, a truth in taxation meeting or something like that and explain. This happened here in Cache Valley just a couple of years ago. They have to explain, hey, we kicked some cans down the road. Now your property taxes are going up 150%. That's happened. And that's painful. And that hurts people. That hurts families. And I'm not pointing the finger here. I'm not trying to. There's plenty of that to go around. I'm not saying everybody's innocent, but I'm saying that's not my goal here. My goal isn't to point the finger or say this group or that group made bad decisions. My point is, Tremonton is a perfect example right now, because this is an area, and there are cities like this in Cache County too, that are able to stay under the radar because there's so much going on in Logan City. And there's so much growth everywhere else. But there are cities in Cache Valley that are either in this or on the cusp of what Tremonton's dealing with. And what's interesting is the way that the public responds to this type of thing, honestly, is oftentimes giving all the incumbents a boot. Or the opposite. I've seen the opposite, where everyone reelects the incumbents because it's someone they know, and all the changes have people looking for familiarity and consistency. But either way, it has a tendency to be disruptive. It's, for lack of a better word, a natural part of things, growth and expansion of the city budgets grow. They don't have to grow indefinitely, because there are ways you can shift and cut and change and all of that. But in general, as populations grow, the city's budget has to grow with it. If for no other reason than, a great example that was given recently from a city here in Cache Valley that got some ire from residents because they needed to raise more money, to be blunt. They needed to raise more money because they didn't have enough people to do all the permitting and sewer connections and power connections that all the new houses required. So they either turned down that revenue of new residents or said to people, I'm sorry, your kids can't live here. When they turn 18, they've got to go elsewhere because we can't afford to keep up with the growth as a city. Can you imagine the public backlash to that? It would be worse than a truth in taxation meeting over a tax increase. But again, my point here is this is difficult for all of us. It's difficult for our elected officials. And sometimes, let's be honest, they don't handle it like adults. Sometimes they try to hide things. Sometimes they try to sugarcoat things in a way that is borderline dishonest. We've seen all of this, throughout the last few decades all over the state. We're not immune to it. It happens in Idaho, too. It's not a Utah-specific thing. And again, my point is this is all difficult. And then you have a municipal election come along. And all the emotions around this, all of the things people are upset about, the things that either haven't happened or things they're upset about that are happening, all of this can sometimes converge on what is normally a very sleepy process with unfortunately low turnout, usually, municipal races. But that is happening all around the state. And here in Northern Utah, that's kind of my understanding what's happening in Tremonton. Big debates, robust debates, thankfully, over property taxes, proposed increases, over the responsibilities of the city, over growth and development, who's calling the shots and on where apartment building development permits get approved, and are there conflicts of interest? Who is setting the master plan? Is the city thinking of a master plan? And then you throw the state in it as well, and the state, with good intentions, I maintain, is stripping power from cities because the state has decided that things need to be a little more centrally planned when it comes to housing because, in their opinion, cities aren't being responsible about it. I don't know that I agree with the state legislature on that. And any individual lawmaker you talk to says they don't agree. And yet somehow the bills pass magically, I guess. But that's where we're at. And these dynamics aren't going to change. I guess the real point I would like to have everyone take away from this is there has never been a time in your life probably when paying attention to your municipal candidates and those races that are playing out first in a primary September 5th. Most likely you've got a primary in your city. A lot don't, but most do. And if not a primary, you've 100% guaranteed got a general election choice to make for representation in your municipal races this fall, and that will that election day will come up the Tuesday before Thanksgiving again because of the legislature delaying that to have a special election to replace Congressman Stewart, who retired or will retire September 1st. This is all playing out right now, and again, we hear this all the time. Most important election ever. I'm not going to say that. That one might be next year. But I don't think there's ever been a time for those of you who vote, who feel that is a way to change things for the better in your life and your community. There has probably never been a municipal cycle as important as the one we are in the middle of right now, whether you're in Tremonton, Hyde Park, Logan City, Hiram, Mendon, Brigham City. It doesn't matter. Regardless of where you are, there's probably never been a municipal cycle year that is going to set the next 4 years, which are going to be key years when it comes to all this growth and what trajectories we set ourselves on, than this election. It is really important because that is what's going to happen. The pressure is on from the state. The demand of growth, the developers knocking down city doors, begging for permits to be approved because there's so much money to be made because there's so much demand for housing, which is all true. Nobody's making that up. It really is there, and we really do need to increase housing options in every part of the state, but especially here in northern Utah. All of that is true, but the question as to whether we're planning 5, 10, 15 years ahead or just approving them willy-nilly based on someone knows someone else or, oh, my brother-in-law really likes this guy. I trust him. That's the question. And sometimes, honestly, I'm skeptical that cities are looking far enough ahead and saying, okay, as we build all this new housing, what kind of a city do we want to be in 5, 10 years? What do we want things to look like? Honestly, I'm skeptical that a lot of these smaller cities are prepared for that, and yet we are right here. So municipal races this year are very important because who gets elected is going to be in office at a time when some very key decisions are made that could direct the future of your city for the next 10 years. Because once you start down certain paths, you're committed. And that is on every city in northern Utah right now. So we're happy to pay more attention to these municipal races even outside of Cache Valley, and I hope you will too. And if you have some recommendations, shoot them my way. If you'd like us to prioritize certain cities because of this issue or that issue or a particular crop of candidates, happy to do so, but need your tips. kvnuftp@gmail.com. Also welcome to join me on air right now, 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
One night in Logan. Spend the evening with the Bellamy Brothers. Healthy Kids Society presents the Bellamy Brothers, Wednesday, August 9th at the Logan High School Auditorium. With special guest, the Katie Matthews Band. Tickets start at $20 and are available now at thefit.ticketsauce.com. The Bellamy Brothers, Wednesday, August 9th, 7 o'clock at Logan High School. Get your tickets at thefit.ticketsauce.com.
A rule of thumb is if your air ducts look dirty, they probably are. Dirty ducts should be cleaned by a certified professional like John Hansen of the Duct Hunter. In a typical 6-room home, up to 40 pounds of dust, contaminants, and air pollutants are created annually, and this builds up in the ductwork. Dirty ducts may be contributing to large health issues that can cause serious problems with people with respiratory health conditions, autoimmune disorders, or allergies. Don't risk it. Give the Duct Hunter a call, 770-4813, to clean out the dirty ducts in your home.
So now Clayton Kershaw, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, said, quote, "I don't agree with making fun of other people's religion. Instead of making a statement or condemning We're going to have a Christian Faith Day. That's our response. We felt like that was the best decision. It has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community or pride or anything like that. This is simply a group that was making fun of a religion that I don't agree with.
The Glenn Beck Program. Sunday afternoons from 2 to 5 on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. I realize as I got lost in my rant there, not really rant, I just hope it's something people take serious, how important municipal races are in general, but especially right now, considering the decisions cities will be making over the next couple of years, and the fact that once a city gets pointed in a certain direction, they tend to commit to that for about a decade. That is why these elections are so important. And because of all that, I forgot to say, the reason I'm talking about this is next Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. at the Tremonton Senior Center. I've been invited to moderate as a neutral party because, to be honest with you, I don't know the candidates and the politics of Tremonton like I do here in Cache Valley. So I'll be moderating a Meet the Candidate event. There's a chance for you to get out and ask them questions of your own, but also hand me questions to ask them on a public stage. I'll have some questions of my own submitted by our listeners from the Box Elder County area, which you can email to kvnuftp@gmail.com. And then I'll be recording the event so we can broadcast some highlights the following day on the show. So trying to shed more light on some of these cities around northern Utah to emphasize again how important municipal races are this year, considering all the growth and change facing us in Cache Valley. It's really important. So if you're in Tremonton, be there next Wednesday at the Senior Center at 6:30. I will be. Come say hi.